BMNR is going higher as of today and yesterday, so I believe that there's just one more news before Bitmine reaches $100.
Welcome to the game, I'm the wolf of Dubai.
Welcome to a brand new video, and today we are talking about that BMNR is one news away to go absolutely parabolic, okay? But we will talk about this in a second, and we also talk about the Tom Lee interview that show us some of those catalysts that could be the one news that we are away from a totally different Bitmine, okay? If you don't know who I am, my name is Danny and I'm looking for stocks that can go up 10, 20, 30, 50x from where they are right now. I was very early on Tesla and Tesla went absolutely parabolic, okay? And my subscribers bought apartments and houses, so you should be subscribed to both of my YouTube channels and also on X if you're watching it on X. And I also never advertise anything else except my own trading group, which is x10daytrading.com, where we trade for you all automatically with our AutoPilot software. And this helps us to send you all the trades in and out every single day, all automatically into your portfolio. And with that said, I would love to dive into today's topic. If we are looking into the markets right now, you actually see that, for example, the S&P is on all-time highs again. Okay, which is quite interesting because we had the small dump the other day or the other couple of days because of the biggest crypto crash, right? We had some news about Trump and tariffs and so on and so forth. But since then, we recovered, and obviously also Ethereum slowly goes back up towards 4,000. I think that Ethereum is quite interesting. The most interesting levels for Ethereum, you can see actually the levels here that I marked in the chart. So 3,940, 4,080, 4,270. Those are the most important next levels. Maybe already over the weekend, we see more and more flows going in. Next week, we have also the Fed. The Fed should get the rates even lower, and that could also spark the end of the seasonality of the market of a weak and volatile October. Usually, November and December are fantastic. But Tom Lee actually made another interview that was quite interesting, and this is the clip that I watched the whole interview, and I think this is the most important part.
I think you said that you were going to buy 5% of the Ether supply.
Yes.
I think you're there, right?
Almost.
Close?
Yeah, so that would be 6 million Ethereum.
Okay.
Bitmine on Monday announced that we're at 3.23 million Ethereum.
So we're 50% of the way there.
Yeah, 2.7% of the Ethereum supply.
Okay. What is the purpose of the business? Just tell us a little bit about it.
Well, Bitmine is an Ethereum. Primary strategy is an Ethereum as the treasury asset. It still has a small Bitcoin mining business as its operating business, but now its primary treasury asset is Ethereum. And the reason it makes sense to grow the Ethereum holdings is that Ethereum as a smart contract platform with staking means that large holders of Ethereum can benefit from the power law dynamics, meaning you can be a benevolent entity in the community helping see DeFi, and also as payment rails get built on Ethereum, help guide that process. And so we're working with the Ethereum Foundation. Today, Bitmine's 3.23 million Ethereum tokens makes it the largest holder of Ethereum in the world, more than the Ethereum Foundation, more than any other single holder. When we begin our staking, native staking, that's about a 3% yield on roughly 14 billion worth of ETH, and that's nearly 500 million of pre-tax income. That would make Bitmine one of the 800 most profitable companies in America. So it's basically going to be a Russell 1000 company. And for institutional investors, they've put a big allocation into MicroStrategy because that is the way that they get exposure to Bitcoin. But Ethereum, we've been writing about, is probably in a super cycle, similar to what happened to Wall Street in 1971. Because in 1971, the US withdrew from the gold standard. So the dollar became actually synthetic, completely synthetic. Mm-hmm. So Wall Street stepped in to make sure the dollar stayed the reserve currency. So they built futures, CDs, money markets And it succeeded because within 10 years, even though the dollar was only 27% of GDP, it became 53% of central bank reserves and 80% of all financial market quotes. So the yen didn't win, the Deutschmark didn't win, or the French franc. In 2025, we're tokenizing more than just the dollar. The stablecoin is the breakout product, which is a tokenized dollar. But as you know, Larry Fink, Robinhood, they want to tokenize everything on the blockchain, and they're going to build it on a neutral public chain, which is right now 70% of that is happening on Ethereum. So Ethereum is experiencing that same 1971 moment where Wall Street's rebuilding everything onto a blockchain, which we think it'll be Ethereum. Ethereum could recover its Bitcoin Ethereum ratios, 2021 highs. That would put Ethereum at around 21,000 per token. So it's, I think, an undervalued asset. And by acquiring more and staking it, we benefit from the power law. And so it's been successful so far. Bitmine is the 30th most traded stock in America today, trading $2.1 billion a day. And it benefits from, I think, our clear communication. We publish a monthly chairman's message that explains our thesis around why Ethereum is in a super cycle and why Bitmine is continuing to acquire and stake its Ethereum.
Now, I'm going to play devil's advocate for you because a lot of people are going to listen to this, and the people who like Ethereum will be like, he's a genius. I agree with everything he said. Why do you only say 21,000? It's going to 100, right? Or whatever crazy number. I think the people who don't like Ethereum fall in two buckets. There's the Bitcoiners who don't like anything other than Bitcoin. And then there will be the like Solana or Avalanche or whoever, like, they believe in kind of this smart contract thing, but it's just, I have a different favorite horse, right? To the Bitcoiners who say all of the altcoins are not valuable, how do you kind of talk through with them why they're wrong?
I'm a Bitcoiner myself. I think Bitcoin, and we explain this in our presentation, is digital gold. So it's storing value, and it stores value and it moves value exceptionally well. I mean, Bitcoin is really sound money. I'm a believer in that. But Wall Street is going to be building products and tokenizing products. They're not going to be building on the Bitcoin blockchain, because they need a smart contract platform. Mm-hmm. And as you know, if you look at whether Solana or Ethereum, if you look at the total value locked, about a third of that value, gross value, becomes the intrinsic value of the chain. Like that's been the floor for Solana and Ethereum. Mm-hmm. The global economy is 80 trillion, but it's understating because GDP is a final sales concept. So let's say it's 120 trillion. You can't put 120 trillion onto one public chain, mm-hmm. because like this Ethereum would be like, $20 million because there's just so much value locked up on it. So there's going to be room for more than one L1. But Ethereum has been the place that's been capturing more than 2/3 of all the creations. It's had 100% uptime, but almost every project that's been announced is a layer 2 on Ethereum. So, I mean, I'm not against Solana or Avalanche or these other chains, but as an institutional grade blockchain, Wall Street's building it on Ethereum.
Okay. And then how do you think about what's more important, the staking yield or the price of Ethereum going up? Now they're related, but if you had to pick one or the other, right? Because one is more of kind of a treasury. We just think that this thing is undervalued and will continue to appreciate, versus the yield itself is much more akin to a public company where there's cash flow and revenue and these kind of normal metrics.
Well, I think crypto really has forced us to rethink what I call like rent seeking really looks like. Because Bitcoin, the community is capturing the value. That's why the Bitcoin blockchain grows in value, is because it's all the energy required is reflected in the price. In smart contracts, I think it's proving that it's a fat protocol. So instead of TCP/IP being the base layer for Ethereum, whatever you're staking and operating on Ethereum, the value is captured on the blockchain itself. It's acting as a monetary base. So to me, the price of Ethereum probably goes up a lot in the future, because I mean, just as a simple mechanical measure, if BlackRock and Goldman launch stable coins and they have tokenized stocks and it's an L2, but it runs on Ethereum's L1, they'll want to care how the L1 upgrades. So they're going to eventually own Ethereum. So then if 20 investment banks buy Ethereum as a balance sheet reserve, as much as they hold Bitcoin as a reserve, then the price of Ethereum is going to go up a lot.
So as you can see, he is really talking about a few things that are super interesting. Okay, the super cycle on Ethereum. This is like kind of one news, but it's not like a news that comes once. It's over like a whole couple of weeks and months that will develop the super cycle and the tokenization of everything. The next two things that are like, say, the one news is either the adding of the Russell 2000, but this can happen only next summer. I think the most probable news that can absolutely skyrocket Bitmine is the staking, okay? As he said in the clip, this will add $500 million in pure profits for this company and makes this company one of the 500 most profitable companies in the whole US, okay, which would be absolutely insane. And I think this is the news. And maybe we will see this news either towards the earnings or somewhere in between. Maybe they will come out next week and they say like we bought, and this kind of makes sense as well. They bought a lot of Ethereum right now. They use the weakness. The seasonality of the weakness is over. Now they come out with the news and Bitmine could absolutely explode. This could happen, okay? And I think that it's just one announcement, one news away that this can happen. And then I see Bitmine going straight to 100, okay? So I believe that we will overcome the levels of 65, 75 and go to 100 per stock. Okay, I think this is quite interesting. So with that said, let's dive also in what this announcement could or how it could look like. And I think that either it comes during the earnings call and, in the earnings presentation, they say like, this is our roadmap to staking, or they actually announce it similar to maybe in the next chairman's message, which would be end of this month again, or another timing would be they just announce it when they do the holdings update. Okay, so either way, this will be one of the biggest announcements, and this will be like a plus 15, plus 20% day for Bitmine. We all will be very happy. We all are very early, as you know, in Bitmine. So I hope you like this video. Make sure to subscribe and check out the Extend Day Trading if you want us to trade for you. And I'm looking forward to see you tomorrow. And remember, the grass is greener always on the other side.